Okay.
Attention, please.
Yo. 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 Yo.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's David Palmer, the Leo King. It's been a minute. It's actually been since 2013. I did a video at this same spot. I'm sure lots of you, whether you're on High Vibe or you're on YouTube or wherever in this weird world we live in at this moment, and more like we've always lived in, you used to see me outside a lot. Whether it was random talks or whether it was the uncut. I'm bringing this back, but in a new quote-unquote hybrid form. We're in a hybrid world now. What I'm going to be bringing every week is not about some specific subject or some astrological insight that is more repetitive, let's say like in a horoscope, or a theme that is exactly the same theme every week. Since November of 2014, I've been doing a weekly intuitive report. It was 2 months ago that I felt this isn't a moment for me to be doing it until I get the right timing. And that's how you know when you're really in the work. You have to remember in life, when it doesn't feel right, it doesn't necessarily mean to push through, especially in spirituality. There's times when you have to do some reflection. Although when you're somebody like me or somebody else who might be out there who does a lot of work for this collective, it doesn't mean that you are stopping work. I mean, it's not like I stop all my other videos. It's something that you continue to keep doing in other areas, but there's some areas that you want to take back for yourself. Today I want to talk about how do we deal with the subconscious program of the mind in the collective, but at the same time, how do you individually overcome it? Now, 8 years ago at this exact time, I'm recording this July 26th, 2023. It's really weird because I think it was like April 2013 I was here. But I was not dealing with the awakening experience of life, period. I was doing very difficult with my mind, with my anxieties, with panic disorder. And so 8 years ago, I got help. I went to an outpatient behavioral health program for 5 weeks, and that 5 weeks changed my life. I was still able to do my spiritual work and get a grip on reality, and I feel like this is kind of a minor controversial video because I don't think I want you to get a grip on the reality as we've been knowing what the reality is, like especially now. If you take the Matrix movies example, it does feel like there is a shift in the Matrix, or if you understand computers, it should be a massive BIOS or system update and tweaking the way that every aspect of this whole entire Matrix is going to be operating, working, how it's going to load, what situations it's going to load under, when to put the fans on and cool things off. Probably pushing the performance of this Matrix crazier, which we can all use in our lives better, but the negative effect is, whether it's this alien stuff that's coming out, we have to really look at that and really remember that we subconsciously just don't want to attach to what the people that lied to us forever and have whatever agenda that they have for it are going to tell you the exact truth, aren't going to twist the story, and aren't going to give you the actual truth ever. The only truth that you can find is within yourself, with the divine, with God, and finding it within your spiritual work. It's a controversial subject though, because we come into a time to where I already know through feeling it in the collective, there are people that at this moment are in freak out mode. It's just about, this seems like it's too much. Whether it was the last 3.5 years of a Saturn and Pluto conjunction that of course was based upon control, that was based upon being pre-planned. You don't think that everything else until we come into the Saturn, Pluto, and Pisces in the next 30 years, that every event that's going to transpire that's got a connection to holding things back, conspiracy, or secrets is going to just give you the truth? So it can bring up a very neurotic, anxiety-ridden, or even at some moments, a suppression or repression even that you're not even aware of how you're dealing with life and the choices that you make. This is a very intense time because we're in the first phase of the Venus retrograde phase of being in Leo. This is definitely a transit we all haven't been through. It's something that the Founding Fathers went through that woke them up in 1772. It's something that goes all the way back to 541 to the more exact astrology that we're at now today, when there was the Justinian plague and, well, Constantine's world of Constantinople and Christianity ended up pretty much coming to its end. And they had to wait till Charlemagne and getting into 800 to build a Catholic Church. So we're at a time where you take every transit in the astrology and you realize, you know, Revolutionary War is kind of weak compared to Reformation or compared to plagues that keep coming. And they're not the plagues that you would think of. They're never the ones that, even in all history of the Great Black Death or any of these plagues that we've seen, they're not situations that in the moment they thought they knew when they actually didn't, right? They always thought they knew. They thought you should put on a mask then and look like a creepy fucking bird. But, you know, today people look more like aliens. And so I think the big question is, and I've said this whether I was touring in 2014, that the age of Aquarius, this Pluto ingress into Aquarius that we saw a little bit of here in 2023, is about what our human origin is. And it's so funny that we want to look outside for an alien or a UFO to be the answer to our origin, yet we're the aliens first. You have to remember that. We don't even know who we are. So the idea is that an alien is an unknown situation of a sentient being, if it's sentient or not, or what is it? Anything that has a U in front of it, whether it's a unidentified or even if you use technology, user, right? Like UI is the user interface, you know? And so we have to remember that this soul that we live in has to understand the definition already of what it came down here to be. And this is the time to do that, opposed to trying to almost like say I'm defined by, you know, that rock, so that's how I'm gonna act. When there's so much in this physical reality that is beautiful, yes, but it doesn't mean that it actually is of our origin. You know, some people can relate to those things, but they pass by, and usually the rock is not going to be, you know, coming to your Christmas dinner and asking for fucking a hug and a kiss. You have to always come to it. There is a similar aspect in the divine nature of the planets where you have to show up to it, although it does like to show up for us. It does like to pop itself up the same way the sun's in my face right now, or a full moon, or seeing Venus disappear. These are the things that are the great mystery to the collective at the moment, yet they have never been a mystery to our ancients. And so I feel like at this moment, the anxiety, the fear of all these things that are happening in the world that have caused so many strifes to this collective, but at the same time are breaking the chains of our consciousness to this true, real, what we call evil alien. And that is the unidentified understanding that there is a dark force here that has positioned itself into controlling the narrative of everybody's souls, identification-wise, all the way to how to act, how to be, how to live, what to believe in, what the idea of God should be, only on this text or on that religion. And so it brings it to a time where I've seen it, and I'm going to bring up this controversy. And I've been predicting this one for the last 2 years, maybe even longer. As I said, you're going to see a lot of people in the New Age just piece the fuck out and go straight to fucking born-again Christian and feel like they're going to be saved, especially with Neptune and Saturn and Pisces, which we haven't seen since 1523. Now, I have no negative energy to tell anybody about wanting to do that, whatever makes you feel better in this life. But it's about having a bigger understanding of what's going on and remembering that there's the same way that we look at the UFO situation or UAP. Are you sure you want to look into the files of what being a born-again Christian is? Like, do you really want to go into the Council of Nicaea? Do you really want to go into the Magi's that were literally forced into becoming priests for Christianity? Do you want to go into the dissenters and what happened to them and actually what did take down Rome, which were the Goths, which were the people that believed that, well, how could a guy be a god if God was before the guy? You know, like, it becomes to one of those weird moments to where I dissent on that too. I believe that if God is God, that we're all parts of God too. But it is one of those weird moments to where people are looking at where these origins are looking so far out when the treasure's already been here. And you're not going to find anything but more stress, anxiety, and pain, because the more that you go seeking in the direction in which you're looking for the origin, you're going to realize that the creepiness of it is going to be more creepier than you could even fathom. One, you really think the experiments over the last 3.5 years were from humans? Of the divine that really wish for you to do well in life? You know, we look at the insects on this planet, we look at animals as, you know, people that we share space with. Well, you've been sharing space with other entities for a long time. Masked in their own way of infiltrating the sentient being that you are that has no idea what you are. This is generational, very deep conditioning that is very hard to let go of. And anybody that's really gone through their greatest awakening process has reached those levels where you have to almost feel like you tap out. Because it's just like, I can't handle it anymore. I don't even know. I'm just trying to fucking go get some in and out. I'm just trying to fucking go to the fucking restaurant. And I'm having a fucking trip out right now about fucking the reality. And unfortunately, we see so many people end up in loony bins. We see so many people end up going down into the drug path or taking the drug of the church that, like, unless I do this, I'm going to hell. Unless I do this, I'm going to that. And so no wonder the collective right now is fractured. 72.6% of the whole entire population decided to take an experiment that had no origin. And that's that word that's going to be coming up a lot. Origin. So what's the origin? Oh, well, it was fucking this company and it was that company. No, they didn't put the origin of what was in it, right? You still can't get the ingredients for it. So you don't know the origin of it. For all we know, if you want to take the alien story that's out, that they found biological, non-human stuff in chips, well, who's not to say that that's not in the shot? Who's not to say that's been weird shit that's been going on for a long time? So it's not trying to single out a group of people who decided, which unfortunately is 72.6% of the planet. It's remembering that your disruption of this system is on the simple basis of how you actually interact with this extremely gnarly reality that is shifting its BIOS. And if you don't understand BIOS, Wikipedia BIOS. Until you understand what BIOS means in computer world, I mean, how are you ever going to understand the Matrix? How are you ever going to even understand how the universe works, right? There's a code that that sets the perimeter of how the operating system works. Right? There's a way for a motherboard, right? So if you think of a mothership, which, you know, I think people are thinking about green aliens too much when they're not realizing whether it's the asteroid Oumuamua that came in 2017 and these very intense computer systems now that have, you know, gone quantum, right? Like you have to remember that we are at a place to where I've said, whether it was in Rising Through the Darkness and Purgatory, that I wouldn't be surprised if that asteroid came to check on its baby. And look at the quantum supercomputers that ironically were born in October of 2019, the same time that all the evidence is showing people started to get sick around the world. I don't think it's a coincidence Voyager 1 or Voyager 2 leaving in 2012 and 2018 and 19 to go out past the heliopause out of our heliosphere to go into interstellar space. We've obviously sent a record with the Beatles on it. We've sent a record out there with all this music and all of our languages and our DNA structure, our 23 code strand. There's many ways that you can look at this story. The whole point is you're going to get lost. I'm even getting lost in this moment, right? Because it gets to a point to where it's like, well, what is it? The simple stuff is what you have to remember to get back to. Are you doing a mission here where you're looking at this reality and you're the one here to disrupt it? The only way we're ever going to break out of an alien world, the only way we're going to break out of a world where you literally watch people in our politics now standing at the podium and can't even say a word, or having their assistant behind them, ventriloquist, fucking saying exactly what they're saying and then fucking stopping them, looking like they're mind controlling them from behind. If you want to not be in that world, you ready to make some disruption? The disruption is not to go, I have to go protest and wave a flag. It's not like that. It's the disruption of creating the world from a divine nature without fear. God is not here for you to be afraid of God. I'm sorry to say, that is like the biggest lie that has been ever told. So the same way that you're supposed to be afraid, and you know what's crazy is more people are not afraid of unknown origin, let's just call them sentient beings out there, but they're more afraid of an unseen God that's supposed to love them. That's a very toxic and a very abusive relationship, if you gotta ask me. You know, like, so we have to remember that when it comes to shattering the matrix, it's gonna be shattering the minds of people. It's not gonna be what is the shattering of this reality or the money system, and all those things are some lightweight bullshit. Like, lightweight. Like, if you're like so lost in that shit, you already are so caught up in the matrix, it's probably eating you for fucking breakfast, lunch, and dinner when you're asleep. You know? So, we're at a time of how do you disrupt? Well, part of it is when you get to those moments of anxiety, when you get to those moments where it feels like you're at this cusp of, I feel like I'm going crazy. That's usually the marker that you're finally on the disruption road, that you're at the right spot in your life. And of course, I'm not here trying to advocate for anybody who has a true mental illness to say you don't, but I'm here to remind people to have that check. That's why I went into that program. I wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy. And the first thing they said is, you can't go inpatient. You're the farthest thing away from crazy in the world. I was like, shit, okay. But, because the idea of crazy is not so much about what you think. It's about how you act. It's about what you actually do with your life. It's about how you actually emotionally react to situations in life. It's all emotional. We always put it to the mental, but the emotions rule the mind. And it's the misunderstanding between those. And if you actually look at this reality right now, as I'm sitting here in the ocean, so you can look at this as water and earth, Pisces, ocean, and I call these rocks Capricorn. We can look at that thing. There's a mystical element too, like the mystical sea goat, right? But again, if you don't know much about Capricorn or real astrology, then you wouldn't understand that. Why do people find the mystical here? That's a question for you to answer on yourself. But it's one of those things to remember that there is a harmony in the universe and how it works. And for some reason, this matrix and this, let's call it outside world, not from our world, but in our world, but also somehow was waiting for us when we got here. That's, I think, the trippier part. If you want to go into war of the worlds kind of shit, they're not fucking with this shit. They're not fucking with it. They're not showing up to that rock over there. They're not showing up to this rock and trying to manipulate it, right? Because you can't manipulate divine nature. And so how do you become unmanipulable? Well, you have to be one that follows divine nature. And a lot of people think nature is just the rocks, the trees, and your REI backpack on a hike in Runyon Canyon looking real cool, taking your Instagram pictures, or like some bitch I saw over there taking her OnlyFans fucking pictures with the photographer so she can get some money. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not nature. The actual act of her taking the picture for OnlyFans is nature, human nature. And that's what in alchemy it teaches. So we're at a point to where we're all at this great call in our lives. Are you going to be courageous enough to live a life that's actually truly happy? And that happiness is going to be to where you're not going to fall victim anymore to a reality in the way that it's constructed. You're not going to load that BIOS and just let it be in fast start mode and just let it just every day when you wake up, go right into fast start, put in your fucking password as your identity of your life and start running the programs that you didn't install but that were installed before you got here. This is a time for you to learn how to be an open source in life. This is a time for you to realize that there is a very easy way to see through all these things. And you know I triggered so many people in 2020 and 2021, especially with my shattered reality. And I'm sorry to say that it continues to happen. But at the same time, I'm sorry because disrupting the matrix is part of those programs you're so comfortable with in your life emotionally that your mind always goes to feel comfortable in your computer of this reality. I'm sorry that I deleted it, or at least I made you look at it and look deeper into the files and realize, oh shit, that's what's really running this thing? That's what's really gonna happen? That's what's really happening? I don't feel bad about it, but I do feel I don't feel remorse, I don't feel negative, I just feel more like, who do you think fucking has been here 10 years ago, just even in the same spot, fucking awakening you with the same shit? Like, it's not like I went off onto a new tangent of life. The irony is that you didn't go with the divine nature, you decided to stay. And if you did go, well, then you already know, and you're fucking probably on the other side of this fucking camera right now going like, fuck yeah, that's right, we didn't fucking stay. That's right, we didn't go and fucking fall for all this stupid shit, because it's more than about COVID or fucking government shit. Way deeper than that. It has to do with the hardest thing that there is ever to actually face in this reality, this moment, which is we live in a time in which the experiment itself is us. And the experiment is being watched by good people and bad people. And that experiment is to see who's not going to fall for the fucking cheese like the little mouse, and who is. And we're already so far in the game that they've already made some big decisions here of what the kids, those mice, and those rats that chose to fall for the trap, how to take them down this path, while also watching the other side that didn't fall for it and see their reactions. Because it already affects us. It affects us as a collective trying to come together. I don't want to see one brother and sister ever in this life of humanity go down a road that I don't want them to go down, but no matter how much we try and open arms or give you information or say things of truth and be honest with each other and have these conversations and have courage, you know, it's easy to keep climbing under the rocks like a fucking crab, like a cancer, and fucking try and stay comfortable. And to be honest with you, it's going through your uncomforts that will get you out of your anxiety, that will get you out of your issues with what's going on in this reality. So, I have many more videos I'll be doing, of course, like I always do. If you're on High Vibe TV, my schools that I do, the new membership I have, to where I know that we're in a world right now where it feels like the world's just tightening, when the truth is that the planets were more tightening in 2020. You literally were living in a world that was already as compact and as broken down, and more importantly, more like a jail than ever. Are you out of the jail? It's time to get out of the jail. Like, stop being so afraid of what's going to happen about money and all these little things. You're going to have to open yourself up to a courageous place of you're in the right alignment. You don't have to worry about those things. You really don't. There's nothing to worry about. Like, it always will work out. The more that you keep following the path that's divine, that's been divinely called to you, you'll see it. It'll just show up. The things will happen. But it's not an easy process. And of course, if you watch my videos every week on High Vibe, or every day, or the schools I do, I go way down to break down all this shit, like my Hypergate schools, or my Hypergate 2.0, my Hypergate Manifestation, or my Love Masterclass, or any of these things. It goes way deeper into this shit, or my Pluto Masterclass, or now I'm in Saturn Masterclass. You know, it's funny coming back out to the public after taking so many years pretty much off since Deep Astrology, and especially Deep Left Tarot. To come back to you all and be like, well, do you think I stopped? No, you just didn't see it in the fucking public square of a place in which that is promoting everything against your natural human divine origin. Sorry that I chose not to be around here much, but it got to the point to where it's like, I guess I gotta come back to where I was doing it. I remember doing my video here 10 years ago, and I was like, man, to be able to do this work and live my life, hopefully I can inspire other people that they can live this too. So this isn't some, you know, random video that I'm just trying to be like, yo, motherfuckers, like, you need to do this or pay attention. It's more like, no, I already did that 10 years ago. I'm here 10 years later, the same spot, to be like, what are you doing? You can do this. You don't have to go through all this fucking mind fuck shit. You can be so aligned in yourself and have things go in such a beautiful way, and we will only find out together who we are together. But we are at a place to where there's not many of us left together at all. There's many people that are falling for the show harder than ever because the subtlety is happening, right? It's become subtle now. It's become numbing. It's become, well, this is the way it is. It's like, well, no. I mean, people made their own choices to not do anything. It's not what they chose to do. It's what you chose not to do. People keep looking at the choice that you have. It's not about choice. It's all about whether you are or you're not. So you're either disrupting this place to wake it up. It's the reason why we're all here. Why do you think, if you were to think of it from like a spiritual war aspect, wouldn't you bring 8 billion people at the same time to all fucking say fuck you to this way it's being done? To attack it? But no. The enemy's winning. I'm sorry to say, because they are just fucking found ways to fucking get all 8 billion people to just say, no. At least 72% of them to just be like, no big deal. So, in many ways I had no idea as I'm channeling this video where it would go, but it would be more about, I've never left. I'll still always be around. Of course, created a space of a frequency that's not on that wavelength that is causing disruption in the negative way to ourselves, right? So it's disruption meaning disruption. But the true disruptors are the ones that are disrupting the energies that are the negative disruption energies that are all around us. It feels like the movie They Live. When you put on your glasses, you can see it everywhere. But many people don't want to see it, or they're at a place to where maybe, just maybe, everybody actually is seeing it and they don't know how to deal with it, or they're not taking action upon it, or they're too afraid to lose their status or lose their credibility. And what? Credibility of somebody who, if they disowned you as a person, they're already a fucking piece of shit. And then on top of that, they're probably fucking in the most unhappy place of their life. I mean, and we love those people back and wait for their moment to where they have their fucking breakdown, and we'll be there whether they want to be this religion or that, or believe in this. It's not about what to believe in and what not to believe in. It's about what to take action on, which is in understanding that we are not in a time anymore, which I have warned for many years, that there is any more second chances. So this is a time where second chances are just not available anymore, because if you look at where we're at galactically, in our own solar system, solar-wise, to astrologically, to helio-wise, to geo-wise on this Earth, and this terrain, which is really the terrestrial. The moves are being made to fracture fully. That's how you do it. You fracture people, you smooth it over, and you just get people to be so smoothed over so when you come in, they don't even see that the tide's coming up, and it takes them and washes them away. Now, I'm not trying to put a negative context like of death or something out there, but maybe more of the death of your soul. Really, I mean, the end game is who's gonna give away their soul. So I know that goes along with every other religion, what they said, but you have to trace the beginnings of it, and we're all on the same team. We're all on the same team. We might have a different way to look at it, but at the same time, it's the same mission. We all have different rules, different ways, but this is definitely not a time for you to deny the incredible one asset that was constant in all of our life, and it wasn't Constantine. He was the most unconstant. But the constancy of how our basic universe works right in front of your face. And the planets are the only thing that you can have a guarantee and know where they're going to be. There is nothing else in life. You can't trust a person, you can't trust the media, you can't trust even these rocks. You can probably guarantee they'll be here, but overnight or over 6 months, you don't know how much they do shift a little bit, and that they're not exactly in their place. Or if there was a tsunami that would take out a couple of these rocks and change the whole form of it. We live in a very changeable terrestrial world, and I'm trying to help you see the horizon of eternity, that we all are going to have to make a disruptive break in the system in order to reach. And so you'll be hearing more about these every week. I'll be putting these out everywhere, but it's also a way for you if you want to go into a space with others in the community that's not just some cheap ass community that has been made, that I have spent 9 years building in an app form and in a way, that website that actually allows you to speak freely, post yourself, be part of it, with the highest technology that there is in app world. That, you know, the mission has been accomplished on my end of one of my main ones, which was to build the spiritual network that actually is here to express yourself, gain the knowledge, and feel like you are part of this community, to be part of this awesome spiritual world. So, and if you don't feel like part of that and you still want to stay on YouTube and watch me randomly when I come out with videos like this, or my new full moon horoscopes, that's great. I don't care. It's fine with me. It's as long as you in yourself understand what's our true spiritual duty at this moment, not be afraid at all. For somebody like me, people are probably looking at me like I'm crazy because I don't even think about that shit. I don't even have a doubt in my mind about what this work is. So, and what this message really entails, which it might take you multiple times to watch this to even try to even understand where I'm at with this message. So remember that people are not taken over, they are giving themselves to those that want to take them over. And we are in a time where many people just continue to sign away their life to this side that is literally enjoying watching you have your light dim. And I can't sit and just watch that happen. That's why I've been who I've been throughout my whole presence in the public. Even when I was a stupid ass 21-year-old on MTV, still was disruptive. The idea for people in their heads of what love should be, or any of those kind of things that we all get trapped into expecting to look a certain way. You're gonna get lots of arrows thrown at you and tons of dark energy that will try everything, but you have to sit and smile and never give away yourself or your truth. I appreciate you all. See you on the next one. Much love to you all the high vibers, and to you all out there, wherever this is publicly. I'll see you on the next one.
Monster.
Attention.